So, because I'm on my PC, I'm going to be doing this through a stream. But, just turn down the music a little bit more. But because people are asking about my knight build, other people are playing knight as well, and trying to figure it out, I'm just going to talk about it. So, as you can see, I have been working on my gear and working on my character. So level 68 still, 157, 627 is my CP, and the alt has gone into level 53. It was really cool. All I did last night was a go. I made sure my settings auto accept the next quest and sped through the quests and just let it go, and then basically it did all the quests until it died at some point, but it made it from level 14 to 53 without me having to do anything. And then I was able to collect a bunch of rewards, collect a bunch of stuff, get a bunch of gold, and my next goal is to get to level 60, so then I can dump the majority of the gold on this character into health pots and then move them over to my main. But besides that, let's go ahead and look at my skills and my build and everything else. So as far as skills go, alright, I have purchased some passives, gotten some passives. So 30% chance to counter after parrying. Basically every time I parry, there's a chance to hit back my target. Since parry is one of my main defensive stats, this is pretty good. This one honestly increases my damage a lot, so for 10 seconds I get a 3% increase to attack, attack speed, and critical damage, so you can see it right there. And then the cooldown is a minute. When it does pop, I do notice a difference in my damage, and it definitely lets me keep up high DPS. Strength is only at level 2 and defense is at level 2. You get these just by leveling up, and they give you the books to activate that to level 2. Alright, and then as far as skills go, these are the main skills that you get in the beginning. But let's go ahead and talk about it. So this is my rotation right here that I have set up, and basically the first skill I put on increase my spirit generation by 30% when using this skill. So I get 65 spirit instead of 50. The reason why I did that is because I want to push a little bit faster out of my first stage to get into my second stage. My second stage gives me a flat 10% increase in attack, and so getting to the second stage is a priority, and then maintaining that second stage as long as possible is also a priority. Alright, so then when we go down the chain, we have Unyielding Charge. So this gives you 70 spirit, pretty good damage. And then instead of taking 30% more spirit, which would bump it up to 91, I took the increased damage by 10%. The reason being is because the second stage gives me that 10% buff, and when I had too much spirit generation, I was basically going into the third stage at around 50%, and that's just wasting a buff. So I want to basically maximize the second stage as long as I possibly can, and basically, which is sword drive, I want to maximize sword drive as long as I can. So if you look at it, increase it 10%, enhancement stage 1, and then it does some other effects. Okay, so I'm trying to make this last as long as possible before I go into this, which gives an increase in defensive stats and does some damage. And then also that 10% buff from here is still applied while in stage 2. So stage 2 has this additional effect plus everything in stage 1, so maximizing the amount of time that these two are up is definitely priority. Back to that first skill. So on the third phase, we're looking at this skill, which this is when I'm starting to buff myself. So increase critical hit by 520 for 5 seconds. Cooldown was nice in the beginning. It lets you get off the ability twice while you're a minimum of 2 times. But in reality, this critical hit's going to scale a lot better from what I found. Alright, then the lasso ability, I'm personally in love with this skill. You're melee and you have to run to mobs, so being able to pull 1 or 2 mobs to you and not having to constantly run around everywhere is great. Another reason why I like this is because of enhanced will. So increase status effects of resistances by 10% for 5 seconds. So I'm getting a 10% resistance to being knocked down, stunned, or pushed back, which is great. Grasp is a PvP, and yes, I do notice that when I'm attacking somebody, I can do a lasso, and sometimes it just does not work. It's resisted. And then there's the decreased target's defense by 9% for 5 seconds. I haven't gotten this book yet. I do want to test it. It probably does do a lot for doing more damage for not just you, but everybody. But at the same time, I am tanking everything, so I want to not be knocked down. And that's definitely a way to prevent that. So now we go into the second skill. So the second skill, again, I didn't focus too much in the PvP aspect, but instead I did double block, which throws 2 swords, pulling 2 targets, and then it has a follow-up attack. So basically what that does, it just lets me pull 2. Now, what I would really like to get is barrier, because 25% chance of creating a barrier equal to 15% of my max HP for 10 seconds. That is amazing. I really want this skill book. Hopefully I can get it soon. It'll make me a lot more tankier, and then my health pot consumption will drastically go down. So the goal is to get barrier, okay? And then skill 3, you guys can see the effects right here. Increases my defense by 3%. So basically it's doubling the percentage for me because my current stats is at 3%. And then that's coming from the enhancing breastplate. So the reason why I'm doing that is because more defense, the better it is for me. And I noticed that the triple pull was literally pulling 1 too many mobs, and I was starting to, my HP starts to plummet, and then I'm spending even more health pots. So triple pull's nice, probably really nice for PvP. Not super interested in it right now, but it is nice. Increase the chance of pulling a target by 40% in PvP. Yeah, I mean, that's just a better guarantee. I'm sure that when people starts building up resistances and everything, it's going to get really annoying, and then these increase in chance is probably going to become something of a necessity for PvP. Right now, I don't see it as important at all. And then we have Shield Bash. So Shield Bash is a single target that gains Spirit, 25% chance of creating a barrier for 5% of my HP. So there's that barrier effect, which is in the passive. I chose the barrier to be tankier, use less health pots over the Spirit generation. Honestly, the Spirit generation probably would be pretty good just to get into that first phase a little bit quicker. But at the same time, I'm balancing out pretty well right now, and I prefer the barrier. The second skill for this is going to be Shield Pummel. And then we're looking at, we can do faster generation. I don't want any faster generation for the second tier. I want to maximize the amount of time. It is very easy to get into the third tier, and I don't need to increase that whatsoever. And then increase your parry by 350 for 5 seconds. So that is honestly probably the best one out of the 3. Parry rate is important. and it does a lot for you. Now the quick attack 2 times, this attack already hits 3 times. Its animation is 3. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. All right, so all you're doing by saying do 2 times is making it hit twice. I would rather be hitting 3 times and generate more spirit because I'm hitting 3 times. Now, the reason why you would switch to the 2 is because if you're generating too much spirit, then hitting 1 less time is going to be like reducing that. But this parry rate is pretty good. Okay. And then let's go to the next skill. So this skill is more of a PvP and even guild boss and mob grinding orientation. So this guy does some damage, hits a single target 3 times, acquiring 45 spirit when the target is hit, and has a 30% chance of inflicting knockdown. So knockdown, all right. So 30% chance of inflicting knockdown, low chance of activating during PvP. Okay. Cooldown rate would be if you want to pop it more often so that you're able to generate spirit faster, which is definitely something that to be thinking about. And then you can also inflict vertigo, which decreases your target's attack speed by 15% and accuracy by 250 for 5 seconds. Most people already are applying some kind of debuff to bosses. I know that my guild, they actually switched to debuff skills. Like Poe will do less crit chance and stuff like that so that it's easier to tank. So I'm not too worried about vertigo. Rush is the only other thing that I'd be considering just to get out of the basic form and go into enhancement 1 faster. But inflicting knockdown, so that's basically my PvP, like a chance to knock them down. And then for like guild bosses, you can knock guild bosses down, so that's awesome. And then grinding mobs, knocking down the mob is pretty awesome too. And then we have fierce swordplay. So honestly, I'm not too big of a fan of this skill set. I'm probably going to eventually replace it, but I just need to unlock more skills. So this ability has, you can increase the range, but it decreases the damage. You can decrease the target's attack speed, but why does that matter? And you can increase the skill's fixed critical rate by 10%. Now that to me is huge. Having a fixed increase in crit is big. Critting with a higher crit multiplier is going to be huge. So obviously you just do that, and it has a high actual damage on there, so that's pretty substantial too. All right, now we go into Sword of Fate. All right, so Sword of Fate, I picked the vertigo because decreasing the parry rate or decreasing their attack speed and accuracy. So for bosses, since these are my only 2 options, I'm going to go for the attack speed and accuracy. Maybe that lets me evade more and get hit less often. All right, decreasing their parry rate, I'm not too worried. I've never seen myself get parried. I think that's more of a PvP aspect, like fighting another knight or something. But vertigo seems to be the choice for me. And then Sword of Victory, just a flat increase in damage. I could increase my attack speed for 5% for 5 seconds. I would rather just do increased damage just because I already have a pretty good attack speed. And then we have Sword of Judgment, and then so I did fixed critical rate for that. So basically I can get more crit. I didn't do the range or the quickly apply. It just makes the ability go off faster. Now, if I wanted to be more tanky, I'd be looking into barrier. Again, I do want to stack up as much barrier as possible. I do plenty of damage, but I am not tanky enough. So barrier would be something that I'd be highly interested in as well. All right. As far as this skill goes, so I would eventually want to replace it. I got my Sword Flurry leveled up. It does do more damage. The only issue is I have no passive for it. So if I got either the increased critical rate or I mean, vicious attack sounds really good, or even just the enhanced weapon, increased attack by 6% for 5 seconds. All three of these sound really good, and then I'd actually use it. The reason why I'm not using it is because it is a 30-second cooldown, and I have a little bit of cooldown reduction in my stats, so it's 29.3, but it also doesn't have a chain effect, so it doesn't have a secondary or third ability. So it long cooldown, doesn't hit as often, doesn't have any crit multipliers on it, doesn't have any kind of multiplier whatsoever, so it's not really helping me right now. Reckless Raid is actually pretty cool. It's a stun. I can see it working. It's 40 spirit though, so it's not going to be generating as much spirit for me. It's a charge, so it's a gap closer, which would be great for PvP, and you can increase the crit rate, and I mean the crit rate's insane. Alright, so now let's look at Earth Rift. Earth Rift, pretty good damage, hits 3 times, 50 spirit per. Let's see. Vertigo and okay, so yeah, Earth Rage with Bash. That would probably be the go-to for me. Let's see what the cooldown is. The cooldown's 28 seconds, so it's faster than Sword Flurry. It does hit 3 times, and it's one animation, not multiple animations. And then the 30% increased damage would be huge. So if I ever get to this point, then awesome. Sorry. If I don't, then I don't. It'll eventually come. We'll get there. Full Moon Strike. Okay, so hit 2 times 30 spirit per, and which is a lot less spirit generation. Increase attack by 20%, increase attack speed by 15%, and decrease the target's attack by 15%. So that's a pretty defensive move, and seems like it would be pretty good to use. I'm wondering if it actually combos into something. I can look at that later. Actually, it should tell me. Dealing swift damage. Okay, I'll look at the other abilities. And then we got Impervious Rush, right? So this one's 2 times at 75 per, so it's the same amount of energy as Earth Rift. With an 80% chance of stunning, reduced effect in PvP. Activates instantly after canceling an activated skill during manual use. Well, that's an interesting concept, and I don't know how that would work. So, that's very interesting. Increased damage by 20%, increased chance of inflicting stun by 15%, and has a barrier attached to it. So, honestly, this is the tank ability, right? And it looks like this could actually take the place of, of my shield bash. So basically a better version of the shield bash. Awesome. Can't wait to get it. Real quick, these guys actually say what abilities they combo with. Sword Dive and Clash of Will. So I'm looking for Impervious Rush and Earth Rift. Okay, so let's see this. Sword Dive with a Shield Bash equipped. Alright, so that's Shield Bash only. Activate. Huh. You know, they might not have a follow through because they're already so strong. So you keep the same rotation and you're not playing around with other abilities. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Because these are supposed to be the quote unquote PvP abilities. So, I don't know. When I unlock them, I'll play with them and I'll find out a better solution. Now, the other thing that people are asking me about is my talent tree. So this is my talent tree right now. Okay, so you really don't have a choice until you get to the middle here. I went with enhancement time effect increase, so gives me an additional 20 seconds. Increase enhancement stage 1 by 10 seconds, right? And stage 2 by 10 seconds. So that means when I pop into my first enhancement stage, I have an increased 10 seconds on it, so maximizing that out as much as possible. And then same thing goes with stage 2. I was trying a spirit build. Honestly, you go through your stuff so quickly that it doesn't feel like it's enough. When I switched to this, I felt the difference. It's just more steady. This increases your damage output if you parry. Honestly, I don't feel like I parry enough to be able to really maximize this, so I didn't really go for it. I never really tested it either. These two just seem so much better. Now you increase your normal attack and then upheld spirit, so increase the duration of enhancing effects by 5 seconds. So that crit, that parry, and all that stuff, those buffs that I'm giving myself through abilities, well, now they're being increased from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, so it lasts longer and I'm able to do more. And then the cooldown comes up, they're all roughly around 14 seconds, so there's 4 seconds where I don't have a buff up. Pretty good, right? And then if I can ever get my cooldown reduction to the point where I can constantly keep up these buffs, then they're just increased stats on me. And we'll see if that's even possible in this game, but that's how I theory crafted it. Now I'm gunning for 69 today, and I'm not going to be taking a point into Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is a PvP based talent point. I'm also not going to be taking a point into Crush Morale, because I only have one debuff skill and it's not really worth it to me. The things that I'm looking at is either increasing my spirit generation by 10%. I honestly think that might be overkill and might be affecting myself in a negative way, because right now everything lines up perfectly. So I'll probably put a point into increase my attack by 1.5% for 5 seconds after parrying. And that way, if I do parry and I do get the increased attack, well, I get the increased attack, right? It's going to be a while until I can even get to these other trees, right? But let's say let's say I'm max level. Basically, the route that I'm looking at right now is going straight down the middle, and mostly for this barrier, because the barriers are just really strong. You can use your health pot, gain your health back while the barrier's up, and then basically you're just not taking damage for a while. It's a very strong ability. Plus, we're increasing our HP, and the barrier is equal to a percentage of your HP. And I mean, yeah, if 25% below 25%, this procs, I get a huge barrier. I get to use health pots. I get to heal myself back to full, and we're good to go, right? That's the idea. That's the concept. As far as the other ones go, so say we can have enough points to split off. Basically, I would go up to attack and then into Indomitable Spirit, completely ignoring the defense and the parry damage decrease. Now that may change by the time we get this far, I don't know. But for now, that's my theory crafting, and I hope that helps you guys. As far as stats go, what I'm focusing on currently is I'm focusing on mostly crit resistance, which is really, really, wow, did it drop. So I changed my mount. I just got this mount. I'm testing it out to see if I like it. Otherwise, I was using this. So if I hit change mount, right, I lose 1800 CP, but now look at my crit resistance. It's 5535, which yesterday I was noticing that I was barely getting crit ever. Maybe 1 out of 15 attacks, if not better. Not really sure. Now I go from 71 attack speed, right, to using this guy, which puts me at where are you? 91%. And that's without attack speed food. Okay? Buffs, mounts, enhancement, enchantment. Cool. Today I got my sword, I got my shield yesterday, I got my chest piece today. I just need to get gloves. Thank you. And then I've had my boots forever. Now I'm not getting them to all +6. I did this for the chest piece for the crit damage. The shield, but I don't want to blow them up. Just getting them to +5 is an automatic increase, so I'm waiting. They'll stay at +5, and then as soon as I get another one, I'll try for +6 and go from there. But yeah, so we got the blue cloak. So this knights have a cloak that has skill down decrease. You get this from level 8 guild. Alright, this is the blue version. There is a purple version. I'm just not using my points to try and RNG it. It is completely random. But the blue is a nice boost. The skill cooldown reduction was pretty nice. And it's pretty good. Neck, it's only +4. Attack, crit, accuracy. 3 good stats. Belt, defense, mana regen, accuracy. The reason why I have this and not something else is because, well, the stats are good. I got it to +6 on my first try, and the purple belt that I did get one. It broke at +3. So, yeah. Earrings, I'm going for some knockdown resistance, which is great. If I can get these guys higher, I would. I might actually look at the auction house and see if I can just buy a +5 version. But I also enchanted it to maximum. So, yeah. And then, oh no, I did not. So maybe I should replace that. And then I have just the honor earring, attack, parry, evasion. Try and get that up. Of course, I'm trying to replace these with purples. It's just a matter of time. Now, rings. So rings you buy for 1,000,000 gold. Okay, the 2 rings that I decided to go with was 1 healing recovery ring and 1 resistance to being knocked down. So the reason why I did this is because I want to not be knocked down, and 2, I want to increase healing. Now the meta for the Korean servers is actually 2 recovery rings, so you get a 40% increase on your health potions. But you know, I'm not going to be a meta person. I want to try this out. When you get it to +12, you unlock critical damage at 15%. That's why I did it. And how you go about doing that is you go to shop, you go to rings, and you buy your ring. So I bought the Glorious Recovery Ring and Honored Resistance Ring. And then you buy these scrolls right here. Alright, you buy those, and then you just keep going for it. Every time you go to upgrade it, it's going to cost 1 more scroll, and yeah, so it gets expensive. I got lucky, and on my 3rd try from 11 to 12, it popped for both rings. But there's other people who were trying and just failing endlessly on +12. So I'm happy with my rings. I'm not going to try doing a dual recovery ring because I'm not going to try and get it to +12. It's way too much. Doing it once is enough for me. Okay. Yeah. In the future, there's supposed to be purple rings coming out. How long down the line? Do they? Sorry. Do they blow up? Who knows? So that's that. I'm gonna check the comments because I am streaming. Definitely better. Only interesting when the global version will come out. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is American version, but hey, I like this. And all right, so that covered that. As far as mounts go, I mean, the attack speed mount's pretty good. Apparently the meta for the Korean version is the evasion mount, because you're stacking evasion to the point where you just don't get hit anymore because bosses have a certain set accuracy, and you can get your evasion to the point where the boss doesn't actually hit you, and then you're just DPSing as high as possible. I have yet to get to that point, and I feel like it's a lot of evasion, and I just don't have enough evasion to be able to do that. Crit resistance is awesome, and the crit damage is nice from this horse, and it's good for if you're just trying to do as much DPS as possible, but you're also just making yourself a little bit squishier. Attack speed scales really well in this game. PvP defense is awesome. Does this guy have it? No, he doesn't have it. So PvP defense is great because when players attack you, well, it'll help you a lot. Accuracy is great because I am being evaded a lot, so I'm wondering if this 700 accuracy is going to do me a lot of justice. I'm literally bouncing between this mount, which reduces the critical resistance by 800, well, increases my critical resistance by 800, and then the PvP defense is by 200, versus this mount, which I just got, so I need to test it. This mount is great if you're burning through your mana potions like crazy. You get a little bit more PvE defense. It's just great for probably grinding the most, if you're not worried about doing damage and you're just consuming all your mana pots.
You can let me know anytime.
And then of course everybody's gonna want this mount. I mean, I want this mount. So you get critical hit by 3000, crit damage by 30%, PvP attack 500, PvP defense 1000, HP 1000, and PvP damage decrease by 10. I'm not sure how this number scales, but I'm pretty sure it scales by quite a bit. So yeah, and then yeah, 4000 max weight and 100% attack speed. This thing's a god. All right, so both Barry and I have tried twice for it and failed twice. So I don't know how long it's going to be, but eventually we'll get one. And the way you get it is by fusing 3 purples together. Let's go talk about pets real quick. Pets. There's pets. So this guy, he's pretty good. Critical damage by 5%, crit rate increased by 1000, attack by 200, 190% XP. Awesome. Great pet to have, good DPS. Korean servers, they believe that this is the meta, and this is basically the best way to get the most damage out of your character. I mean, I agree, it's pure damage, right? But if you're the person tanking the boss constantly, there's more stuff you can do. Hedgewig Owl. This guy's great for just bosses and named creatures. Basically, you get a bunch of defenses and attack, which is good. It works. Is it the best? I don't think so. Defense is nice, but resisting crit is so much nicer. All right, and then we have this guy. So 210% XP, 250 attack, 1000 crit resist, and ignore PvE defense damage by 10. So you're just overall taking less damage. His head just fell off. Did you know his head could fall off this pet? Wow, that's hilarious. All right, so I like the critical crit hit resistance. I'm stacking that right now, and we'll see from there. Maybe with this new attack Griffin, I want to be using Hedgewig for bosses just to up my defense some more, but for now I'm going to do the crit resistance. Other pets to get for purple, the blue pets are pretty standard, and green pets are pretty standard, just breed them. There's Tina, which is alright, increases your accuracy and then MP regen speed, so if you're just burning your mana and if you're having issues with hitting targets, this can be a useful pet. 200% XP gain is really nice, and honestly this is probably more of a grind pet, just so you can use less mana pots. And then you got the legendary pet, which I've even tried for this once, and yeah, no luck. But 500 attack, 2000 accuracy, 1500 crit hit resist, added boss attack of 500, added boss defense of 1000, HP regen plus 10, and PvE damage decrease 10. Basically, it's all the purple pets put together in one nice little mesh pool, and it is awesome. So, of course, the legendary pets and mounts are something that you want to go for. The way you get them, combine 3 purples. 3 extra purples. Yeah, not happening anytime soon. Okay, what else can I talk to you guys about real quick before I just turn this off? Let's check to see if there's any questions. There's Strength Primer and Shop for 2K. 2K is overpriced. Stop trying to rip me off. All the time. Eli, are you thinking of switching off ESM completely for this? Looks amazing from what I've seen so far. Yeah, I'm doing 3v3s, getting the Phoenix mount, and then I will play ESM incredibly casually. If somebody who's playing ESM wants some direction or anything, wants help with it, then I'll make a video or do whatever. But I think that V4, it has the population, has the people playing it, and honestly is overall a better game than ESM, because ESM you still can't see people, and you still can't do a lot of stuff, and there's still server lag for no reason. So I mean, V4 is just an overall better machine, a flat out better machine. So I like this game a lot. I'm putting a lot of time into it. ESM, I'll actually be doing 3v3s tonight for ESM, and I will probably stream it. Okay, so that answers that question. Strength Primer in the trading post. Oh, ability stones. Skill list, Jesus. No, there's nothing in the. There's nothing here. Whoever is selling books, if you want them sold, and basically it's just me and Barry and a few other people even looking at them and buying them. If you want them sold, below 1500. If it's just a passive that increases, like if it's just skills passive, if it's amplifies strength, that thing needs to be 500 or lower. I will not spend more than 500 on this, because you're looking at a 60 point increase of attack. Why would I spend 2,000 on that? That's a complete waste of money. If it's amplified defense, same deal, below 500, like 250. Okay, these things should not be thousands. You're literally asking me to spend 25 bucks on 60 attack. I'm not doing that. Now, if it's, I don't know, all right, I'm just gonna say the value that I think these are worth. This 500. This 600. This one, I'll pay 800 for it. Okay. And then this, 500. All right. Barry just bought this skill for her class for like 500. So everybody's upping the night books because they know I'm buying them. All right. And I'm not going to pay 2,000 for them. No, not for passives. Now, if you had, I don't know, Impervious Rush, I'll give you 12 to 1,500. I'm not going to give you 2K. I'd rather wait. My guild's almost at the point where I can just be buying them from the guild for free. So it's not really worth it. I feel like that's definitely something that needs to be said. It was brought up in our chat before, but 2,000 is way overpriced. Oh no. Hey, no problem, Matt. No problem at all. Like, I'm not completely quitting ESM. I'm actually thinking for ESM, to when I really just don't care about the game that much, to basically do in the Discord a poll saying what class do you want me to play, and I will re-roll my character to whatever that class is, and I will play as that class for a week or a couple of days for the amount of time that I want to play ESM. Like, I'll switch to a gunner. I'm not going to re-roll my stats. I'm not going to put any more money into ESM. I'm done spending on ESM, like, completely. I bought the monthly $5 pack or whatever just because I can claim free stuff, but I'm not going to be spending hundreds of dollars on ESM anymore. And after these 3v3s, after I get my Phoenix mount, I really do think that it'd be cool to be changing my class to like an Ice Gunner or a Thunder Gunner or, I don't know, a Fire Gunner or a Swordsman, anything like that, or even a Magic class, a Mage, whatever people want to see. And then we can just see how my stats scale in comparison to not being completely rolled for, like, I'll just still have nature damage is what I'm saying, right? So yeah, that's what I'm planning for ESM in the near future. Icarus M is coming and people will switch from V4 mobile games, and I can't wait for people to switch because right now people are pretty nasty. V4 hasn't even released a third of the content that's in the Korean version yet. This is the beginning, and the stuff that's going to be coming out is absolutely crazy, and I can't wait for it. And when the game gets refined down on the player basis, things are going to change. And maybe when that content comes out, people are going to be like, oh, well, now I'm playing V4 again because, wow, there's so much stuff. But yeah, so I'm totally fine with people switching games and everything. I'm picking V4. I'm going to play for a while. I'm not suffering from lag. Last night we had like 300 people on a boss, no lag whatsoever, and I could see every single one of them. It was insane. It was great. Very streamable, very everything. This game's awesome. I love playing this game. Alright, last question, and then I'm going to wrap up this video. I will stream later tonight too, but I've played as an Ice Mage right now, and I find it really fun. One of the new servers now, I'm going to get up and probably quit in a few months or so as real life stuff catches up. Yeah, I feel you, Matt. Life does make that game a little hard. Honestly, with V4, you can just turn it on and walk away from it, which is nice. You can take care of the stuff you need to take care of, and then keep moving on. It's a mobile game. It feels like a mobile game, but it has that MMO feel as well. Yeah, so that's basically my video for now. This will all upload onto YouTube, so if you watched this much of it, thank you for it. If you can like and subscribe. The Discord invite is going to be, just because it's so much easier to do it this way, if I go to guild right here, welcome, and join Discord. Discord, basically you just gotta put that in and you can join our Discord. It is open to all members. If you pick a class, it will instantly put you into the ESM role, so you can see all the stuff for ESM. If you are interested in V4, we can give you the V4 tag. Just post in the general chat and I can make sure you guys have access to our V4 channels as well. So thank you again, guys, for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And yeah, thanks. I'll talk to you all again very soon.